When I was a kid at soccer training one time, the regular coach was out, and so this other dude uh took us out for training. Was like the stand-in coach, and I remember he was the father of the psycho on the team. This kid who fucking would try and break your leg even when you were just having like a practice game on a Tuesday evening, and the dad was like an intense guy, and he was giving us this like rev up speech before training one time. He was like, are we all motivated today, boys? Are we gonna be working hard? And are you excited? Are you optimistic? Are you gonna be enthusiastic? Like, and this isn't just at training. Like when you wake up in the morning, are you jumping out of bed, or are you lying there groaning, being like, "Oh, I'm tired." Basically it's a upstairs game, boys. You got to be switched on mentally, and if you're excited and you're jumping out of bed, that'll be that'll flow on for everything you do for the rest of the day. So let's fucking get stuck in. One of those speeches. I remember he was talking about like jumping out of bed, and I was like, oh yeah, I bet you two, the psycho father and son, they would yell at each other and shit like that. Looking back, I think they might have had like a fucking Gary V thyroid issue going on. They were very twitchy, fucking agitated geezers. But yeah, I bought into it. I was like, yeah, that is fucking probably a better way to be, to kind of like wake up in the morning to be optimistic and kind of like ready to fucking take on the day. And yeah, I like the kind of the thought of like yesterday could have been shit, or today could suck, but tomorrow might be better. So why not kind of like use the opportunity for each day to be like wipe the slate clean and fucking make the best go of it you possibly can. So this is how I've thought for a long time, right? And I'm lucky. I'm not really prone to depression. I'm not yeah, I can have a shit day, but the next day I genuinely do forget about it. I'm like, oh, whatever. Forget about it. Your parents died in a fire. Forget about it. Your dog got stuck up in a tree and got shot by a Hamas sniper. Forget about it. Your sister's got AIDS. Forget about it. That type of shit. I can't just be like, whatever, man. Let's start afresh. You're on death row and they don't have your favorite spaghetti noodles for your last supper. Forget about it. Yeah, so I wake up in the morning feeling good about shit. I listen to fucking Andy Huberman, and I don't follow 99 out of his 100 rules, but one thing I do think is kind of important is I try not to have my coffee immediately. So I find if I have my coffee immediately, I just like it fucks me up a little bit. I have like a pronounced caffeine crash. So I wait a little bit, I'm fucking buzzing. And then after like half an hour, and I have my fucking strong coffee, then I'm buzzing even more. And then I hit a slump uh in the mid morning. And to be clear, it's not a physical thing. This is like a fucking hacky 80s comedy thing. Like, when you get older, you gotta fucking crink in your back. Your legs don't work. Everything goes wrong. And then I've got a child in the house, so he's bringing back loogies from the school. So right now I've got something brewing in my throat, but you can fucking deal with that. If you're an adult, you'd be like, yeah, you never feel fucking 100%. That's a part of being an adult. You got to learn to deal with that, especially if it's your fault. If you've been fucking caning the beers or the fags or the bongs, it's kind of like, yeah, what did you expect? Of course, you're not going to be fighting fit if you're doing that type of silliness. So I'm not talking about the physical slump or just the, feeling tired or anything like that. Just kind of like a feeling mentally drained a little bit from like life. And I remember Jerry Seinfeld said this thing. People say life is short. He's like, no, life is long. It's the same thing over and over again. And it's true. The monotony of life once I hit my 30s, the monotony, the kind of the realization, the sinking feeling of being like, oh my God, it's this again and again and again and again and again until you're dead. And if you live a long time, then the prize for that is to watch yourself and everyone around you decay and die. Congratulations. Welcome to the life show. Welcome to the show. So yeah, that is it's an existential obstacle that I'm facing every single day because I am jumping out of bed. Maybe not physically, but metaphorically, I'm jumping out of bed every morning thinking, right, let's do this. But yeah, there is definitely an existential pang that hits me mid-morning every day where I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. The same kind of trend. And in the past I've been the fucking idiot who's been like, fuck it, let's get drunk. Let's change it up. Let's try and run 9 miles for no reason. Like you do something stupid and then you pay the physical or mental consequences immediately afterwards. You're like, well, I try to fucking shift up the monotony in that way and it didn't work and I'm back to square one. And yeah, I'm just talking about the average regularness of life that kicks you in the balls and you're like, all right, got to find a way to make this worthwhile. And I think a lot of us will put towards a long-term goal of yeah, like it could be anything. It could be like, I want to fucking get a degree. I want to build a house. I want to write a book. I want to complete a origami project with my child. You start having these kind of like long-term 3 month, 6 month, 1 year, 2 year, 5 year goals that you're working towards where you can provide you a little bit of structure and a sense of accomplishment at the end of each day where you're like, well, I'm doing something really difficult and I'm chipping away at it a little bit at a time. So that can give you a little bit of that can soothe the existential pangs a little bit because you know that like it wasn't just another day. It was like a tiny another jigsaw piece in a big project that you're working towards. The problem with that though is that like once you've done one of those big long projects, you understand that once you cross the finish line, then you have like a sorry for anyone who's kind of like excited for a big new thing they're working towards, but there's a sense of emptiness that happens when once you've actually done it. Even if you've done something kind of important and kind of like big in your life, unprecedented, there's some confetti on the floor and it's people congratulate you. You can kind of like enjoy that for a moment, but generally you're kind of like, oh fuck, is that it? You're like, damn it, I crossed the threshold and I was expecting to feel different, but I feel pretty much the same. If anything, it's kind of like a little bit worse as well because you're like, I've lost the thing that I was working towards because it's now completed, it's done. So you feel like a bit of a shell, kind of. So there's that lingering as well. You could be like, all right, maybe I'm just not working hard enough, or maybe I don't have one of these long term, like a meaty long term goal that I'm working towards. So I need one, and that will deal with the mid morning existential nasties. But I find that it kind of like that can be the long term goal can be a little bit draining at times as well because you're like, what's the fucking point? Gonna feel the same, if not worse, once I get there. So whatever, man. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's kind of like a necessary delusion to get through the day. Because what else are you gonna fucking do? We don't know what we're doing on this earth, and I'd rather be going through. Ultimately, I think that like success of a life is like there's when Shia LaBeouf went on that moron actors podcast, the meathead John, someone I don't fucking know. The guy who's kind of like a tough guy in every movie, but then he just says bro every 2 seconds. And Shia LaBeouf is lying again, pretending that he's like found Jesus or some shit, or he's had a kid now and he's kind of like, I'm reformed, bro. But he was talking about like being useful. I used to think the point of life was to be happy, bro. But now I realize, bro, it's actually to be useful. And I think that comes across as a bit sappy and a bit kind of like, yeah, contrived. I kind of think that like if you can face all these kind of like internal demons and just like not antagonize other people despite your own like flailing through life, then that's success for me. I'm not sure if I can be useful. I can maybe just contend with my own shit privately, or at least fucking confess all these thoughts. This is a modern confessional type of podcast. I've come to realize you're the fucking priest, furiously furiously making white across the booth from me. Fuck, just a few more fucking Hail Marys, you bastard. I'm confessing all my thoughts here, but yeah, I kind of like if you can just fucking cop it on the chin and get on with it and still jump out of bed every morning and have the delusion that things are going to be a little bit different from the average monotony. Oh yeah, and what I was getting before, I was furiously just doing some jazz hands and trying to maintain my train of thought here. But you know that what I was mentioning before about getting to the end of a long-term project and then that feeling of emptiness and that sense of like what now? I've always thought, when like bands go on world tours and they're like, I've been on fucking Red Hot Chili Peppers, been touring the world for like 3 years, and then they take a year off. I think that's kind of what you need to do at the end of a project. Like the problem with like jumping from one thing to the next is that you can't really like contextualize what's actually happening with your life, like what's happening with you, because you just like so hell bent on like achieving stuff and doing shit. Whereas I think after you do like a big thing, you kind of need to get lost for a while and just like I guess athletes do a similar thing. Like when fucking Manchester City won the treble, you saw like Jack Grealish partying like an animal for a few weeks. I guess with those athletes, they only really get like 2-3 months off now because they're trying to fucking milk them dry for every bit of TV revenue, so they're playing year round. But yeah, I think the musicians have got it worth, because that's really what you need to do is you kind of need to work towards something, achieve it, fulfill it, like write it out as much as you possibly can, and then fucking have a big long break and yeah, go a bit crazy, fucking like lose yourself a little bit, because you find the artists or anyone really who just jumps from project to project, they become kind of like automatons or something. They lose touch with their humanity a little bit. So yeah, that's how I stay jumping out of bed each morning, is I'm working towards something long and arduous. But when I get there, I'm gonna live it up, because I feel like yeah, it is empty and all that, but then you gotta kind of like you gotta fucking blow out the gaskets every is that even an expression? Blow out the gaskets? I don't fucking know. All right, I'm rambling. You made white, you fucking filthy priest. I'm gonna end this recording. Thanks for listening to this one. Catch you on the next one. Bye.